I don't remember exactly how I came across Magic Twins. I think I was actually just scrolling around on Twitter and found someone mention it as a fun two-player game. But I basically went into it completely blind and decided to give it a go for the channel. It was released in March of 2021 by a small studio called Flying Beast Labs, a company that's released maybe a half dozen or so smaller games, and I picked it up recently on sale for less than $10 on the eShop. So, without further ado, here is my review of Magic Twins. So, what is Magic Twins? Well, it's an action puzzle stage-based game where you cooperatively play as two witches named Abra and Kadabra. Each level is essentially split in half, with Abra being able to move up and down on the left side of the screen, and Kadabra doing the same thing on the right side. The middle of the screen will spawn various color-based flasks and enemies, which will slowly move towards the edges of the screen to eventually attack each character. Before this happens, each witch has the ability to cast colors at these enemies to kill them, or to strategically cast a spell on the entire screen, which may do something like change all of the elements to the same color, or remove their colors entirely to make them easier to fend off. The different spells are determined by which colors you collect, and in what order, when eliminating the enemies on screen. This is basically the main mechanic throughout the game, which evolves in complexity as you advance through the main story. Speaking of the main story, there actually is one, and involves Abra and Kadabra accidentally setting off an event called the Colormageddon. It is honestly the perfect amount of story for a game like this, not getting in the way at all, but also giving a sense of purpose to what you're doing. Each level is usually introduced with a few lines of witty and self-aware dialogue, or introduces a new gameplay mechanic. As you progress, there are more difficult elements you'll have to contend with, but it ramps these up nicely enough so you usually don't get overwhelmed, although it will definitely test your skills at times. Another twist is that each level has different victory conditions, such as defeating a certain number of enemies or casting a certain number of spells, with added stars awarded for sub-objectives, which are usually harder, like eliminating more of one color versus another, or setting specific limits on what you can and can't do. It is really quite varied, especially for what seems like a simple premise at first. There are also plenty of bonus levels that are even more varied, with additional cosmetic unlockables such as new outfits, which adds to the replay factor. Something I really want to emphasize is that this game is at its best when playing with someone else. It requires constant communication, since spells are cast together versus on your own, or when going for the same element, you don't want to accidentally trigger something you didn't mean to. There are also slight in-game penalties for accidentally hitting your fellow witch. All of that can contribute significantly to getting overwhelmed by enemies and whether or not you 3-star a level. So you really need to talk it out. Now in single player, your partner is replaced by an AI who holds up decently well on most levels, but the needing to switch back and forth at times between characters can be a bit off-putting as the game ramps up its difficulty, so make sure you find someone to play with before diving into the harder levels. There really is a lot in Magic Twins that I think shows how much care the developers took in making it. There are several different colorblind modes you can choose from, which should cover basically any potential color blindness out there. The music and writing is also consistently fitting throughout, and I love it when the witches break character to take shots at the developers. There are also additional game modes to unlock as you play through the story to add to the replay value. Most importantly though, the gameplay itself leads to some pretty awesome moments juggling all your different abilities. The game always keeps you on your toes, introducing new things for every new set of levels, and trying to work together to survive the hordes of elements on screen is extremely rewarding. To sum it up, Magic Twins is an extremely balanced game for really any age or skill level. The writing is genuinely witty, It technically performs pretty much perfectly, the music and art is on point, and most importantly, the gameplay is a fantastic balance of challenging and fun, especially in a co-op setting. Maybe it's because I don't play a lot of these 2D color matching puzzle games, but I was caught off guard completely by how much fun we had with Magic Twins. It was a completely original and addicting experience that I feel like anyone could enjoy if they're up for the challenge, and might be a sneaky candidate to make my top games of 2021 list when it's all said and done. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a special happy holidays from all of us at Obscurus Gaming, which is just me, but that sounded nice to say. Peace.